Hi, I'm Eric Greenspan. I'm the chef and owner of the Foundry on Melrose here in Los Angeles, California. I'm participating in the inaugural seasonal chef program at Harry & David. I'm a huge fan of the Harry & David Fruit of the Month Club. It's practically the best gift you can give. I mean, orchard fresh fruit, direct to somebody. It's healthy, it's seasonal. Can't ask for something better for the holidays. November, we're gonna be featuring this bad boy. It's a honey crisp apple from Harry & David. And I love these apples. So I'm gonna use it in a recipe today of my favorite grilled cheese sandwich, the Johnny Apple Cheese, AKA Johnny Pastrami. The first item in our recipe is an apple chutney. So I'm gonna dice up this honey crisp apple. And what I love about using these honey crisp apples is that they've got that perfect balance of sweetness and tartness and firmness. So they hold up to cooking it, maintaining that fresh orchard flavor. Now what I've got, in order to cook the chutney, I start with a pan of foaming honey, which is just hot enough that it starts to caramelize a little bit. And I'm gonna go ahead and add my apples and give that a quick stir, just until the honey coats all of the apples. And now I'm gonna put that back on the heat. So once these apples have cooked down and been translucent, you'll notice that they still maintain a little bit of their texture because of the firmness of the apple. And that's great because it gives it time to develop its flavors as it cooks slowly. I'm gonna add a 1/4 cup of cider vinegar. That vinegar is gonna add a little tartness to an already tart apple flavor. I'm gonna take this, I'm gonna put it back on the fire and bring it down till it's all the way dry. And once that vinegar is reduced all the way down, I'm gonna add about a 1/2 cup of mustard, Dijon preferably. Next, I'm gonna add some fresh Honeycrisp apple juice. And if you've never had Honeycrisp apple juice, let me tell you, this is what apple juice is made for. It's tart, it's sweet, it's like drinking an orchard, and therefore it's the perfect sweetness to add to an apple chutney. I'm gonna pour that in there. I'm gonna put this on the fire and cook it down till it's got the consistency of like a chunky applesauce. And after about 15, 20 minutes or so, you've got this bad boy, which is the beginnings of an apple mustard chutney. Now, basically, you can serve it just like this. Me, I like to put it in a blender and blend it a little bit smoother, but still have that chunkiness that you'd expect in both the chutney, and it really highlights that firm quality that is the Honeycrisp apple. And when it's blended, she looks a little something like this. Now that we have this apple mustard chutney, it's time to make our sandwich. A good Johnny Apple Cheese starts with good sourdough bread. On the sourdough bread, I'm gonna go ahead and slather a little bit of the apple mustard chutney. Now, this is a grilled cheese sandwich, so at the end of the day, you need to put some cheese in it. I like to use an aged white cheddar. It's got a sharpness that, again, adds to the intensity of the sandwich, and it's got a nutty quality. And I like that nutty quality because, again, the Honeycrisp apple is the November fruit of the month, and that's like an autumn time. And when autumn time, I always think nuttiness and earthiness. And an aged cheddar really, really accentuates that kind of flavor. Now, it wouldn't be called the Johnny Pastrami if it didn't have any pastrami in it. But keep in mind, this is a grilled cheese sandwich with pastrami, not a pastrami sandwich with cheese. So I'm gonna put in the pastrami, but I'm gonna put it in lightly, just as an accent. The smokiness is gonna balance the freshness of the Honeycrisp apple. Now next, we have the cooked Honeycrisp apple compote, but again, I like to highlight the texture of the Honeycrisp apple. So I'm gonna go ahead and do some thin, raw slices as well. It's gonna bring a great acidity and a great crisp and freshness. So I'm gonna lay that on there. And like a good sandwich, it's gonna be symmetrical. So I got 2 pieces of cheese on the bottom. We're gonna put 2 more pieces of cheese on top. A little bit more of the Honeycrisp apple mustard chutney. And that's gonna sort of glue the sandwich together. Now, this is a delicious sandwich, but this is not a grilled cheese. Because to make it a grilled cheese, you're gonna need to fry it in butter. I am going to take a liberal spoonful of butter and place it into a cast iron pan. And I like to use a cast iron pan because it does a great job of holding the heat and making it even. And you'll notice that I like to cook the butter until it slightly browns. I'm gonna take my sandwich, I'm gonna place it right there in that butter. Now notice, I put it away from me so that if any grease splashes out of the pan, it splashes away from me, doesn't mess up my pretty face. Now, once it's browned on one side, I'm gonna flip it over, and again, I'm gonna flip it away from me. And you see that? It's got a nice, even golden brown color, and that's what you're looking for. And the reason I get that is because instead of being in a rush and cooking it on a nice high heat, I slow it down. I let it cook in the butter, but I let it cook slow and low. That's the key to getting that nice crispiness while the cheese has time to melt inside, and you get that nice, even brown color. So now, again, I'm gonna flip it away from myself, and there, you got a perfectly evenly brown Greenspan's grilled cheese. And now for the good part. We're gonna cut it, and we're gonna eat it. So I take a serrated knife, so it doesn't get caught. It gets a nice even cut of the bread and through the meat that's inside as well. There we go. And there. See that? Now that is a Johnny Apple cheese. It's got that crispy bread that's been fried in the butter. It's got that Honeycrisp apple mustard chutney that brings out that vibrant flavor, that melted aged cheddar cheese, that thin layer pastrami, and my favorite part, that raw Honeycrisp apple that's in there. It's got such a great firmness to it that even in the heat of the sandwich, it holds up and brings that element of tartness and freshness. This is a phenomenal Greenspan's grilled cheese. The Johnny Apple cheese, aka Johnny Pastrami, featuring Honeycrisp apples from Harry and David. I gotta tell you, that is so appley. That is a great Greenspan's grilled cheese.